You received a call from an inmate at the Department of Corrections. This call will be recorded and monitored. If you wish to block any future calls of this nature, dial 7 now. To accept this call, press 5 now. To decline this call, hang up.
Well, hello, Tamara. It's been a long time since I've heard from you. Well, I'm doing fine. Thank you very much. I hope we can get some of your projects out there and let the public know what's going on. Yeah, especially that. I emphasize so much that it is expensive to lock a person up, and they should at least eliminate all alternatives. And I mean every one of them before they throw a person in prison. And then once they do, they got to make sure that you have all the resources, especially in your case. I mean, you're handicapped, you're disabled. You need special assistance, and it's expensive. And I guess it would be just as bad as you were out here. Right, right there. There's really no reason to treat people uh, terribly. I know I discussed slavery. You guys are legal slaves under the Constitution, and there's a lot of folks that apparently have read that, and that's the way they want to treat you. And you're also an American citizen. You also need certain accommodations, and the Constitution does cover that too. We can't strip you of all of your rights just because you're locked up. There's certain ones we have to adhere to, and the public needs to know that. And hearing it from you would be very good. Oh yes, yes, I heard about Gypsy Rose, and as a matter of fact, that's something I definitely want to discuss. She's a good example of somebody who takes responsibility for her actions. She feels that she's paid her time. She shouldn't be judged for the rest of her life for one action. And although they make jokes about it constantly, one mistake and I'm condemned for life. And well, yeah, I know. I mean, when we have that choice, we can do things. But in the case of Gypsy Rose, I don't think she was fully aware of what was available to her, and she was pretty much captive, kind of like what you guys are. And if you want to get something out, and your communication is stifled, and your visitation with family or your complaint process, all these things are just not made available in the way that they should be, that can hurt getting the message out. And you guys talking, and in her case, since she's a big name now, her talking will show people that they're not alone and there are other resources. She said when she murdered her mother, it was the wrong decision. And that's the way a lot of folks that are in there feel. And she should be doing like a lot of these celebrities do. Instead of getting out on the stage and sharing their art, they want to talk about things that's going on in the world, political issues, and they want to be the voice for wrong. And that's
You
all
have 60
nice,
seconds remaining.
but we're not paying all that money to go listen to them sing songs of protest and stuff. We're going to enjoy their gift, and then maybe if we want to tune into an interview or something, or if they want to join a nonprofit, then they can get it out, and that would be a great way to get that information out. And Gypsy Rose has that opportunity. She can sit and she can say during her interviews and stuff, you don't have to take matters into your own hands.
You
There
have
are
30 seconds remaining.
there are people out there who will help you. Exactly. And you can do that too. You can get out there and you can make the recordings. I've got a few on my my YouTube video channel, and even on here, these podcasts where people can speak out. And that's what we need to do. Let's get that out there. Well, good, good. Thanks for calling, and you have yourself a wonderful day. Oh, I'll do the best I can.
Thank you for using Inmate Call. Goodbye.
Hello, and welcome to AQS Inmate Call, and I'm your host, Joel Wilborn. And in this episode, I would like to cover the information that's very dear to me about people who get out of prison. They go out to commit a crime. They are caught, convicted, sentenced, serve their time, and then walk out the doors. That's the important part. We all read on the news and hear from friends and neighbors about terrible crime that was committed, or maybe even a smaller crime like shoplifting or a series of parking tickets or something. But you hear about the crime, and you think, well, we need to catch this person, and they catch them, lock them up, and unless something happens, the person's attacked or escapes, or maybe dies a mysterious death. Usually, if a big news making event doesn't happen, you don't hear much about it. It's like a old high school buddy or something that you haven't heard from in a long time, and then you read the obituaries and, oh wow, I haven't talked to him in years, and now he's gone. And that's how it is with this. And if locking people up and having them serve long sentences, if that's so important, we shouldn't forget about them. These people should be remembered in the news. I know it's a big deal to talk about the victims, and I am 100% behind that. I don't discuss victims much. One, because their story is easy to come by, and they do get the support that they need. The family of the victims that were murdered, and the victims that survive, they can get support, and they can seek support, and they can even give support. So victims, I'm glad that we're moving in that direction. But the person who commits the crime, and that's some of the things I'm criticized for. Why are you talking to this person? This person committed a terrible crime. Well, one of the reasons that crime continues is because we keep ignoring folks, and those are the type of people that we ignore. And they can help us to help others. They have a valuable amount of information, and their life in and of itself is a good example of what not to be done. And it is traumatic for these folks to be locked away and to think back on the crime. There's a lot of victim families out there that say this person should never see the light of day, should be locked away for the rest of his life. He's a terrible person. And they want that person to remember the crime. I have a story on my YouTube channel where a convicted criminal is apologizing. Well, it's not the criminal, it's the father, and he's talking about his daughter that was murdered by the defendant, and he's just going off on this person. And then they have another story where the ghost of a victim comes back, and the murderer is apologizing and feeling really bad. And I wanted to, these are fictitious, but I wanted to give the story from both sides. And what touches me the most is when the people are sitting in prison and they do feel remorse and they express that. And that's why we have the prisons. Now, we could murder these people. That's not going to bring the victim back. It's not going to make anything better. And it's just going to show that we have a disregard for life. If you commit a terrible, terrible crime, you just automatically die. We just get rid of you. That's how important your life is. And I believe everybody has a purpose in life. Everybody has a gift that can be shared. And when a person commits a crime like Gypsy Rose, and she sits down and she tells people what happened in her life and what prompted her to do that and how she feels about it, somebody somewhere is going to be touched. Somebody could be, and I know this is just, a big stretch there, but somebody could be sitting there and thinking, I'm in an abusive relationship and I want to get out of it, but the only way I can get out of it is to kill this other person. And then watching the Gypsy Rose interviews as well, I know exactly how she feels. I know where she's coming from. And she's suggesting that I seek professional assistance and don't do this on my own. Even an experienced psychologist or criminologist or college professor who knows the consequences of doing a crime, even they have a little difficulty at times talking themselves out of it. And if people don't like to go to a support group or they don't want to sit in a public area or even just sit face to face with somebody, watching a video, listening to a podcast could turn them away from doing something harmful. And when Gypsy Rose committed her crime, she was young. She was like the person I interviewed, Marianne Atkins. And when these people want to offer something, isn't that what we want? If a man breaks into your home and steals money from you and maybe some items, and you contact the police, if given a choice, lose your stuff, catch the person and lock them up, or get your stuff and let the person go free, I think most people would say they would like to get their stuff back. And of course, the goal is to catch the person and punish the person and to get the stuff back. But if given a goal between or a choice between the two, people would want their stuff back. And I've heard people say, well, why did she have to die? Why couldn't it have been me? Or I would change places if given the opportunity. And that shows that you really care about the victim and miss the victim. And with material stuff, it's nowhere near as important as a human life. But there's times that people will die to protect their stuff. I've seen people die protecting their pets. I've seen people die protecting their car, um, maybe a wallet. And when you think back, why? But that it was passionate to this person. It was passionate to protect themselves, and it was probably an extremely important thing for the person committing a crime to do it too. I have to have this thing. But well, the only ones who really know are the ones who commit the crime. And the only ones who really know what it's like to be a victim are the ones who are victimized. We can tell the story, but you can't project the feeling that goes through these folks' mind, the victims and the perpetrators. You don't know. And when we see crimes like when the terrorists went into Israel and they said they put infants in ovens and microwaves, and tied people up. All these things they were saying that happened over there. We're thinking, how can anybody do that? Well, it was done, and these folks had their mindset on it. And even if you capture the person and sit down and say, why did you stab this person to death? They could tell you. But for you to empathize with them, to feel exactly the way they felt, is impossible. And to ask folks to put you in their shoes, to have you feel the way they felt, is a silly little request. It can't be done. So, what I would like to see is folks that talk to people who are very, very close to their same mentality. In the case with Gypsy Rose, if and this isn't the first time anything like this has happened. It's unusual for them to actually kill a person, but a lot of people grow up like that. The parents use the kids pretty much to gain what they want. So, if she's talking to somebody who's going through this, that person can say, I know why she killed this person. I know what was going through her mind. And yeah, the 100% relationship can never be achieved. But when people listen to music, let's use Taylor Swift as an example, and she's singing about a breakup or mental health or a torn up friendship or something, people can relate to that. It's like, yeah, I know what they're saying. And there's a lot of different genres of music out there where the people can just sit and think. Yeah. And some of the artists actually say, I write this stuff down so I don't have to do it. I perform it. So I'm telling it to people so I can get it out of my mind. And it's therapeutic for them. It's therapeutic for the people who listen to it. And when people watch Gypsy Rose talk about her story and they're thinking, yes, I know what you went through. I know how that feels. And she says, seek out professional help. We kind of downplay this thing about going to the psychiatrist, seeking mental health because it's supposed to be a bad thing. But if we can get that image that it works, and that's the hard part, because if a person wants to go out and become a serial killer, they just got this urge that they got to find people and kill people, and then they go to a psychiatrist and just all these things are going through my mind. I don't know what to do. And the person gets over it and winds up living a productive life and not killing other people, or even in the case of suicide, winds up not killing themselves. That's not the story we usually hear. It's usually after the terrible thing happens, then we hear the story. So I think if we're going to write books, movies, and documentaries, let's try to focus on the people that sought help and got it. And I don't know, maybe a person goes through this traumatic part in their life, wants to lash out, wants to commit these crimes, lives a good, productive life, let's say dies in the 90s, and then the family comes out and says, my loved one just passed away, but he wants to share his story. He actually planned and was going to go kill a family because it was a fantasy of his. It was this urge. But he was able to quell those urges by speaking out with professionals. Now that could help. I like to think there's a lot of people out there that we help because of something we say or do, more than just locking a person up. Because locking people up obviously isn't stopping people from committing crimes. They know there's a possibility they can get caught. They know there's a real good possibility. I mean, they would have a better chance of winning the lotto than not getting caught committing a crime, yet they still do it. And no amount of effort is going to stop people from committing a crime. We just got to try to reduce it. We just got to try to give the people resources. And maybe something that would have turned out to be a murder ends up as destruction of property or a kidnapping. And yeah, that's bad. But because we worked together, because we made an effort, we averted a really tragic situation from occurring. And when people go out for these mass shootings, they shoot up schools or churches or retail outlets or something. And if they're writing suicide notes or if they're posting things on social media, let's get that out there. And maybe the songs that a lot of parents say their kids shouldn't be listening to, they should just listen to it. I mean, if you have Apple Music, you can get lyrics for a lot of the songs that's played on there. And so you can sit there and you can look at the songs. And I have a friend who listens to songs that I normally don't listen to, but he would say, I like this song, look at these lyrics. And it's discussing rape, murder, assault. And I'm thinking, why in the world would anybody want to listen to this kind of stuff? And it sounds as if it's promoting it, but when you really look at the lyrics, they're not. They're talking about urges that's going through their mind, things they're thinking of, things they want to do. They're expressing it through their music, through their performances, rather than out in real life. And even though we criticize video games and stuff, there's a lot of folks out there that turn on that video game and they're out there able to get some of this aggression out and win their battle with these violent tendencies. So there's little things that help us in life, and it starts with us working together. Some people just get upset if we keep banning them from stuff. You can't go into that building. You can't drive down that road. You can't use this type of car. Is that really going to stop people? Criminals don't follow the law. So the only ones that's going to stop are people who weren't going to commit the crime in the first place. People who want to commit crime, they're going to do it. And every convicted criminal I talk to tells me the same thing. If they want to do it, they're going to do it. So the key is, let's get them not to want to do it. And Gypsy Rose is in that position right now. And I hope she uses her newfound fame to just express it. Why are people signing up to follow her? Because they want to know what she's going to do. They want to know what's going on in her mind. And she has a good way of expressing it. She had plenty of time to sit and think about it. And she appreciates freedom. She appreciates life. And she doesn't want to go back. And we might say, oh, no, there's not a chance of you killing your mother or anything like that again. But what if somebody comes to her and says, what should I do? And she says, oh, I'll kill him. I doubt that'll happen. But we don't want her to push her to that point where she just thinks, nah, this is just not worth it. I'm so frustrated. And I'm not going to help people to get away from this. Because whether they kill this person and get free of them for life, or not, they'll get treated the same way. We don't want that. So I'm asking that you look at this woman's life. Listen to her. I think she has a good solid head on her shoulders, and I think she wants to help. I've got the story of Marianne Atkins on my YouTube channel. And I have people on my podcast, and there's more of this volunteering to give some more information. So we'll get information about medical treatment within prison and the legal system and efforts to improve future life. We should be focused on what comes after prison than before and during. The dangerous people aren't the ones in prison. The dangerous people are the ones living next door to you that are reaching out for help, but they just don't know how to do it. They don't know where to go. And if you can be a part of that, if you can help these folks, and you seek assistance, people that can help you, we don't overwhelm these people or push these people or make them even more angry, we might be able to do something. So I want to thank you for tuning in, and thank you for the efforts that you've done to help folks and even help yourself. Every little bit does make a difference, and everybody has a purpose in life, and everybody's important. There's no reason to kill yourself. There's no reason to kill others. And there's no reason to go to prison. We can draw within the line or color within the lines. We can do that. Well, have yourself a wonderful day and make fantastic memories for tomorrow.